Hello, it's Stefan from Everything Photography, and today we are about to make a small comparison between two lenses. One is the Sony 24-105 f4 and the other one is the Tamron 28-75 2.8. So I did really quick test at home and actually the reason for doing the test was that I watched a few videos online and they stated like this lens is sharper or that lens is sharper, and because in the last couple of weeks I shot two weddings, one entirely with not entirely but like the mid zoom was the Tamron, and the second week this mid zoom I used the Sony. So I had the chance to work in real life situation with those lenses, and I want to share my personal opinion plus this test here. So what I'm going to test is just sharpness in the center and in the corners. Also I'll post a video after that about the autofocusing speed of those two lenses. So let's start. The focus area is right here around where Dr. Sleep text is. So let's compare. The first one will be the Sony will be always on the left and the Tamron will be on the right. So let's mark the two lenses. So as you can see, the left one, you can look at this area, is the Sony, and the right one is the Tamron. I do apologize for this first few pictures. Actually, I compared the three lenses in three different focal lengths. One is in 28 millimeters, one is at 50, and one is at 75. But it seems that on the 28, when I used the Tamron, I didn't rotate the ring to the very end, so as you see it's on the 30 millimeters. But anyway, that's pretty close, so that should be good enough. Okay, so let's zoom right in the middle, whatever the focus point was, and see this one is a 28 millimeter f4 on the two lenses. So f4 is the first focal length for the Sony, and it's already one stop after the 2.8 for the Tamron. And as you can see, they're pretty close. The Sony on the left is quite sharp, although I can give like slight edge of the Tamron, but that we can accept as a normal, as it's already one stop down. As also I like a little bit more, like you see the contrast here about this takes light, and also a little bit here this silver text, like it's a little bit sharper. So let's move at the corners. That's at f4 still. Okay, so as you can see, the corner even wide open, the Sony, I think it's sharper than the Tamron, and I've seen that in many of the shots and the test pictures. You see, like it's not just it's soft, but it looks like it has a shadow on the Tamron side. You can see that, and you'll see in different pictures too. See, like there is a drop shadow of the text, which it's strange, but it's probably flaw of the lens. I don't know. It happens at the corners, and it's consistent. It's consistent, as you will see. So it's probably just how the lens is constructed. So for the edges, I would give total edge for the Sony, even wide open. Let's see the left bottom part, and you see the same thing. Sony sharper, like this text here. Also the black dog, you see it's way sharper on the Sony. So wide open, I would give slight edge to the Tamron in the center, but it's really almost unnoticeable. And in the corners, Sony is definitely sharper. So let's move to f5.6 on the Sony and f5.6 on the Tamron. Okay, let's go back in the middle. And I don't know what to say. I think I looking at the two pictures, I see they're either equally sharp or maybe slight advantage to the Tamron, but I would say I probably see more contrast in this text here, light, than the actual Dr. Sleep text and the texture of the book. Maybe slightly more contrast here and the Y of the silver Y on the blue, but it's very slight edge for the Tamron. That's on f5.6. So let's see at the corner. At the corner, I would say they're pretty equal. I see that shadowish effect again on the Tamron. As I told you, it will be consistent throughout the tests. Maybe it will disappear a little bit around f8 and 50mm, but you'll see that. But Sony is definitely sharper, you can see. Let's go to the left. And again, the Sony is definitely sharper at the corners. So let's move to f.8 for the two lenses. Here, that's a 28mm at f8. I really don't see any difference. I would say they're equally sharp in the middle. Let's see the corners. Besides that shadow kind of effect, which I think is based on a little bit softness, I would give slight edge to the Sony, but it's almost equal at this point. I don't see much difference at f8. If we look at the bottom left part, is the same thing. Here the Tamron matches the Sony, not like and when it was more open. At f8 they're pretty much equal. So I would say that f8, those two lenses are equally sharp throughout the frame. Looking at like contrast, color saturation, I don't see any difference between the two. They're just amazing, both of them. Okay, so let's move a little bit forward. Let's see. That will be 50mm for the Tamron and 50mm for the Sony. As you can see here, 50mm at f4. That's the Sony to the left and the Tamron to the right. So this focal length wide open for the Sony, I give slight edge to the Tamron. It looks a little bit sharper in the center, not by much, but you can see the Y, silver Y over the blue, and then the text and the texture. It's definitely sharper a little bit, but it's sharper on the Tamron. That's the 50mm. Looking at the right corner at 50mm, I would again give a slight edge to the Tamron. You can see this part of the text, the trade paperback text here. Also, like in this area, like the V, you can see it's a little bit sharper. I would definitely give slight edge to the Tamron. And let's see the bottom left. Oh, in the bottom left, the things are looking different way. There's the Tamron is definitely softer, and you can see the black dog text, and even National Geographic is just so different. Let's go up and see the top. Yeah, you can definitely see on the mythology book this texture here. It's way sharper on the Sony. It's just sharper at the, and I don't know, that's also consistent throughout the tests. I'm not sure is that a problem of my copy of the Tamron, but as you can see, it will be consistently less sharper on the left side. Comparing, see it here as well. So it could be my copy of the lens. I just rented one and I returned it already, but that's what it is. At the right side, you can see the right corners. Actually, at 50mm, Tamron is slightly sharper than the Sony. At 28, it was different story. Okay, so let's move forward to go to f5.6. So that's the Sony, and that's the Tamron. Okay, this will be 50mm at f5.6. So here I really don't see any difference in the center. If I split here, I could give slight edge to the Tamron again, but it's almost, it's practically the same. Let's see the corner. At the corner, I would definitely give edge to the Tamron again. You can see here in this area with the red background and then the Firenze text, and you can see the shadow that was very prominent at f4. It's gone at f5.6. The text is sharp at the right corner. So I think it's just wide open. It seems that the Tamron is gaining sharpness at f5.6. Before that, even wide open Sony is beating it, and the corners. Okay, let's scroll down. It's the same thing. I give definitely edge to the Sony here, to the Tamron. Let's look at the left. As I told you before, the left side is different story. Sony has been consistently sharper at the left edge. You can see the Bowman text and here the Bowman text. It's definitely better contrast, better sharpness. It's just, see the text migrations here. So Sony is definitely sharper to the left. Let's move to f8. Okay, that's for the Sony and that's for the Tamron. Okay, let's start from the middle again. At f8, again, I don't see any difference in sharpness between the two lenses. I think they're equally sharp in the center. Let's scroll to the edge. I think you can see and agree with me that the Tamron definitely beats Sony at the right edge of the frame. At f8 it's just sharper. Let's check the left side. And here we go again. We have sharper Sony at the left. And that's not just the bottom part. It's through the entire left side of the image. You can see it's way sharper. The face here, you can see the beard and the texture of the book. Oh, here everything is smudged. So at f8 to me looks like they're equally sharp in the center. Tamron is beating Sony in the corner sharpness of the right side, and Sony is beating the Tamron at the corner sharpness of the left side. I don't know why is that, but that's how it is. And you see that it's changing, so when I switch the zoom in or out. Okay, so let's go forward and switch to 75mm on the Sony here, and then on the Tamron. Actually that's 2.8, so that's f4. Okay, that's 75mm at f4. Let's zoom in the middle, and as you can see, let's check. Actually I have to reverse them. I put the Tamron to the left side, so let me reverse that. So that will be the left side will be the Sony. Here you go, is the Sony. And the right side will be Tamron. That's the Sony, that's the Tamron. Okay. Sorry for the confusion. I was taking the series of shots, like if I put the Tamron and shoot at 50, then I continue on 75 first with the Tamron. That's why they're in reverse order at the bottom, but that's not going to change the tests with anything. So here you go. Let's zoom in the middle. That's 75mm at 8f4. As you can see, at 75, the center Sony is a clear winner. It's like a big time sharper at 75. Maybe that's because it's kind of in the middle of the zoom range of the Sony, and it's the end of the range for the Tamron, but the Sony is definitely sharper. So let's zoom into, move to the corner. I think here they're pretty equal, although I would give slight edge to the Sony, as you can see here, and the white text on the red background, like the challenge text. You can see the Sony is a little bit sharper. Also see the anchor, and the Sony is way sharper, and also like the fifth text, 5th edition, you can see Sony sharper. So I would give edge to the Sony again, and excuse me for that. So let's zoom at the bottom left, and you see again that was consistent throughout all the test shots. The Sony is sharper at the left corner, sometimes not by much, but you can see here the pattern. It's definitely Sony beats the Tamron. Okay, so let's move to f5.6 on the Sony, and then f5.6 on the Tamron. As you can see, it's not that big difference as it was at f4, but at f5.6 Sony, it's still sharper in the center, especially if you see this text light here. You can see the contrast and the sharpness of the edges is bigger. Let's move to the edge. Again, I think we can, it's not that bad at the top part as it's at the bottom, but I think you see the anchor and a little bit the text. I think the Sony is slightly sharper, slightly but sharper at the right corner, and at the left corner I'm not going to repeat myself, you see by yourself. Sony is just killing it. The Tamron is definitely softer in all test shots to the left corner. Okay, so let's move to f8. Let's f8 for the Sony and f8 for the Tamron. And let's go back to the center. At f8, I don't think there is a difference. Maybe the Sony has a little bit more contrast. I think the blacks are deeper, and you can see more contrast on here on the light text. But the difference is very, very small. They're almost equally sharp. Maybe slight edge to the Sony. At the corner, let's check that. Again, it's not that bad. It's almost the same. At the top right corner, it's actually almost the same. And the entire right corner, bottom, top to bottom, it's equally sharp. Maybe even a little bit sharper on the Tamron side, maybe, but it's almost identical. I would give slight edge to the Tamron for f8 at 75mm. Without need to say who's the winner on the left side, that's definitely the Sony. You can see just how sharp that is. And again, I don't know why the Tamron is consistently softer and at the left corner in all my tests, in all focal lengths and all apertures. It's consistently softer. To recap, in the center at 28mm, Tamron was slightly sharper in the center, and that was at f4 and f5.6. At 50 millimeters, Tamron was slightly sharper at f4, but from there at f5.6, f8, they were equal, and at 75 millimeter, Sony was sharper in the center. Through the entire tests at the left corners, Sony was sharper at all focal lengths and all apertures. At the right edge, it was, let's say, a toss, because Tamron had that shadow effect primarily at 28 millimeters. Then at 50, it was probably slightly sharper, and then at 75, it was again back to Sony. At the end, I decided to keep Sony and not the Tamron because of a few reasons. Although Tamron was sharper from 28 to about 50 millimeters in the center, it was definitely softer at the corners in almost all focal lengths, especially on the left side, which, although important, made Sony more versatile, in order that Sony would be better if you shoot landscapes, products, all types of photography, while the Tamron with just the center sharpness would be better if you shoot primary portraits. Besides that, adding the wider range from 24 to 105, and the fact that the Sony is the stabilized lens, that makes it better choice for me and my style of shooting. Also, Sony has that button which you can adjust for eye out of focus or something else, and it's a Sony lens. It will always be compatible with the Sony bodies, and we don't know if the Tamron would have any issues with the future bodies. So those were the reasons that make me choose Sony over the Tamron. But for the price, I would say the Tamron is an amazing lens, especially with the center sharpness. So for, I think, $799, it's a good choice for many people. That's it from me. Bye bye.